As far as upcoming releases go, there are two video games that have piqued our interest since their first reveal. Ghost of Tsushima and Sekiro Shadows Die Twice both are highly anticipated titles, and from what we've seen, they are similar in many ways too. In what ways though? What are the similarities and differences between them? That's what we'll talk about today. Sadly, there's not much to go around about the two games, so we'll have to work with what was revealed up to this point. There will be more information coming in the future, so stay tuned for more. I'm Wes Malik, and here are all the differences and similarities of Sekiro Shadows Die Twice and Ghost of Tsushima. Consider subscribing to SegmentNext for more videos like this one, and hit the bell button to be the first to watch our latest uploads. Let's begin. For starters, let's take a look at what both games are about. At first glance, the setting of Ghost of Tsushima and Sekiro look extremely similar. The first is set in 1274 on Tsushima Island in Japan during the first Mongol invasion. Sekiro Shadows Die Twice now takes place in a reimagined late 16th century Sengoku period Japan. As you can see, both games are set in Japan, although the premises are far too different. To be exact, they're 300 years apart from one another. This means that they might have similar design, influenced by the Japanese culture, but they're definitely not the same. Tsushima looks like it is more realistic and based on historic events, whereas Sekiro is more a dark fantasy title, reminding us more of Dark Souls minus the supernatural stuff. This shows by the enemies we see as well, since the first has humans as opponent forces, while in the latter we can see huge monsters like snakes and giant samurais. Taking a look at the protagonists, you'll notice that there are similarities here as well. Both Jin from Ghost of Tsushima and Sekiro from the homonymous title, which roughly translate to one-handed wolf, are both katana wielders. However, they are not both samurai. Jin is indeed one, while Sekiro is a shinobi, a ninja of sorts, in feudal Japan. However, even though shinobi are more prone to stealth and sneaking mechanics, the developers of Ghost of Tsushima have revealed that there will be lots of stealth in their game too. So here's another similarity, even though it's not the most distinctive one. There's something to be said about movement as well, since both games have grappling hook mechanics and quick reflexes. Sekiro has huge grappling leaps, which almost look superhuman. Ghost of Tsushima, on the other hand, has more realistic movement, which is only natural since everything is more realistic in Sucker Punch's upcoming game. Speaking of the way the protagonists fight, it's high time we take on the gameplay aspect of Ghost of Tsushima and Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. From what we've seen, Tsushima reminds us what Red Dead Redemption would be if set in feudal Japan. Fights seem to be more cinematic yet realistic, while Sekiro looks like it has some fantasy elements in it like huge bosses and such. We don't know for a fact that this is the case, however, that's what the trailers and gameplay footage shows us up until now. Another thing that can be said is how enemy elimination works in both games. From what we've seen in gameplay footage, there's a distinguishing difference between Sekiro and Tsushima. The first feels more like From Software's past releases, having a classic health bar on enemies. As for Tsushima, we see Jin kill enemies just by hitting vital points without the use of a health bar. Whether it was just presented that way for the sake of the presentation or fighting is made this way in order to be more realistic remains to be seen. However, we'd love to see it happening since it will be more realistic than what we're used to in video games. Last but not least, let's talk platform availability. This is a major difference between the two titles since Ghost of Tsushima is a PlayStation 4 exclusive, while Sekiro Shadows Die Twice will release on PS4, Xbox One, and PC. If you're an Xbox One or PC player, then your choice won't be hard since you can only play one. PS4 players will have a great comparison in hand, and we can't wait to see what they think of both games in action. This is everything we think that you should know about the similarities and differences of Ghost of Tsushima and Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. Note that there will be more news for both games in the months to come, so take everything we detail with some reservation. For what it's worth, Sekiro isn't far from release since we'll be able to play it on March 22nd. As for Ghost of Tsushima, it doesn't have a set release date yet, so keep in touch with SegmentNext.com for more news. I'll talk to you in the next video.